Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So hello, good evening, and welcome to the Indianapolis Shakespeare Company's first ever spoken word event, Speak the Speech, Self-Identity in the Time of COVID. That's right, tonight is Indy Shakes' first spoken word poetry performance, and hopefully this will be the first of many. We would like to start with the land acknowledgement. The Indianapolis Shakespeare Company acknowledges that the land we perform on, meet on, rehearse on, make plans on, and hold fundraisers on is the land of the Miami and of the Kickapoo tribes. We acknowledge that this land is stolen land built up by stolen people. With that acknowledgement, the Indianapolis Shakespeare Company would like to thank their event corporate sponsor, Citizens Energy Group, for sponsoring this event. They also want to thank Tatiana Rubel, founder of Vocab Indy, who helped by recommending artists. And we have a wonderful lineup of poets for you tonight. But before we dive into the performances, I want to go over some housekeeping for this virtual space. So you all have the ability to mute and unmute yourselves throughout this evening. And we ask that you keep yourselves muted while the poets are performing their sets. And if you feel that you cannot contain your fervor and excitement, and you must vocalize how moved you are by the performances, you can unmute in between the sets, and then you can speak your speech. You can also feel free to express your excitements, compliments, etc. in the chat, or you can use the reactions that should be at the bottom of your screen, the little smiley face with the plus sign that says reactions. You can use those while people are performing, and that will appear in the upper corner of your screen. Lastly, tonight is also a night where Indy Shakes and the poets want to share some of the local organizations that are near and dear to our hearts. So if you feel moved, you can consider a donation to any of the following places: Aspire House, the Center for Leadership Development, Sapphire Theater Company, Coburn Place, Planner House, No Questions Asked Food Pantry, the Force for Good Community Development Corporation. I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Kelsey. I'm gonna be guiding you through tonight, and I'll also be performing as well. But I'm not gonna go first. That's all I've got for you at the moment. First up, we have Yolanda. And one of the things that is the most striking about Yolanda's poetry is the fact that she gets right to the heart of the matter. Her writing is genuine and grounded. And Yolanda, I love your work so much. You're so sure of who you are. So everyone, let's just take a moment to welcome Yolanda.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you, Ryan, Indy Shakes, for the invitation. I appreciate it. This first piece is called Behind This Mask. And honestly, I wrote this because I missed a couple of Zoom meetings, one of them being with Ryan. And so this is how this poem came about. So I'm gonna, Behind This Mask, and happy holidays. Behind this mask, I am mama, mommy, canning vegetables and making jellies to share as they browse the shelves of my pantry, sending packages out of the country so she can taste a little bit of home, having kitchen conversations, because that's where we've always talked and laughed and, oh yeah, cooked. Behind this mask, I am mama, baking cookies, breads, and salt dough ornaments, sharing the joy of different flavors of hot tea, listening to the pitter-patter of feet, screams, laughter bouncing off the walls of my tiny apartment, holding cooking classes, taking care of my baby's baby while she's stationed in Korea for a year, making and documenting memories. Behind this mask, I am sometimes overwhelmed with life, torn but mendable, broken but not shattered, knocked down but not out. My tears are cleansing. Healing is on the horizon of hope. Behind this mask, I am a child of God. My faith helps me to move throughout the day and keeps me going from going insane with the madness of the world, the virus, killings, death, politics. It's all a bit much for my soul, but God. Behind this mask, I am a creative being, poet, writer, quilter, scrapbooker, family historian, gardener, art journaler, photographer, nature lover. Behind this mask, I am me, beautifully flawed, wonderfully made. Thank you. Thank you. The next piece is called Emotional Roller Coaster. Hate it when I break out in a full-blown ugly cry, like it just fell from the sky, resembling that downpour the other day. Thoughts moving up and down, in and out of my brain, driving me insane, but keeping me going at the same time. Happy, positive vibes as I lift me up with encouraging words. I can be heard singing throughout the building. Forever pushing out the negative words and actions of others so they don't smother my creative juices. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a deep, dark hole. It's cold and I can't see my way out, but I never stay there for long because I keep a song in my pocket and my running shoes laced up tight. Posting uplifting scriptures and powerful quotes of, and leaving myself notes of, you go girl and God's got it. Keeping all of those blessings at the front of my mind, using my gifts and talents to shine so that others can see their way out. Yeah, tears sneak up and tap me on the shoulder, but I use them to cleanse my soul and come out even bolder. Always look inside yourself because no one knows you better than you. You know the true you, the awesome you, the gifted you. Yeah, even the emotional you. Those emotions slowly taking you high, tickling your stomach as you twist and wind. It's okay to cry, scream, enjoy the ride. And when it's done, you will have your own story to share and bless someone. Thank you. Woohoo! Thank you. My last piece is called Masterpiece. From the top of my head to the tip of my toes, from my mama's feet to my daddy's nose, I am art. Ebony and ivory, kinky coils, perfectly spun. Beautiful skin kissed by the southern sun. Mississippi to be exact. An array of scars tell their own tales, from busted head, broken toe, and attempts that failed. From ears pierced lopsided by my wonderful dad, to events in my life that's made me happy and sad. I am poetry. It drips from my lips. I am music in the sway of my hips. I am song from the depths of my soul. I am art on a canvas of gold. I am dance even in my sleep. I am the arts wrapped up in one me. Strategically planned by the master potter himself, refusing to leave me unformed on universe's shelf. He thought of every detail from the inside out, made me in his image without a doubt. There is but one masterpiece of this kind, unduplicated and baby, heavenly signed. I am poetry. It drips from my lips. I am music, and y'all can't see it, in the sway of my hips. I am song from the depths of my soul. I am art on this here canvas of gold. I am dance, baby, even in my sleep. I am the arts, wrapped up in one she. Thank you.
Yay. Yes.
Oh, that was awesome.
Thank you.
Marvelous.
I would like
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to just give a plug for the organization that I'm supporting tonight. That organization is Center for Leadership Development, located at 2425 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street. This organization is located in the Riverside area, and several of our youth, our staff's children, and staff members actually have taken advantage of these awesome programs that they provide, such as college prep, Project Mister, Precious Miss, and many more. So I encourage you to please go to cldinc.org to check out those programs and to donate. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. Y'all, I'm already about to cry. I'm already in my feelings. That was beautiful. Okay. Whew. Here we go. It's going to be a journey. All right. Up next, we have Bespoke 317. And y'all, let me tell you about Bespoke 317. Not only is he a gifted poet, but he's also an incredibly talented rapper. And Bespoke, your words have power and you aren't afraid to shy away from the truth. And I respect that. So everyone, let's welcome Bespoke 317. Bespoke, are you here?
Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I go by Bespoke 317. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Bespoke 317. And so I'm so thankful that everybody came out tonight. I'm going to give my plug up front for the Sapphire Theater Company. The Sapphire is near and dear to my heart. I served on the board for 5 years, 4 of those years as board president. And the Sapphire is special because it's a mobile theater company that brings art with purpose to the community instead of making the community come to the art. And it's a special thing. And so if you Google Sapphire Theater Indy, you'll find the website. The specific link is sapphiretheater.com/donate. And any donation or support of the Sapphire is much appreciated. Before I get started, I also just want to say that, thank you to Yolanda for setting the tone and getting us started off on such a great foot with inspirational and uplifting art. So thank you for that. I prepared 2 pieces this evening, and the first one is called Rap Battle vs. America. Capable, superhero day saver, cape abled, stay stable even when we stay stabled. Why having a seat at the table always on the agenda, but stay tabled? At this point, can't even call it a fable, cause word to Aesop, I can't forget how rocky things been from the cradle. Can't binge on cable, cut the cord even though they network left our bodies hinged on a cable. These truths are self-evident, like chitlins splashing off of a ladle. Somehow still don't think that we're able. Oh brother, where art thou? Murdered me like Clue with no Clooney. Don't care with these billiards, don't cue me. Feel like Cain and Abel, when the only way to maintain in some vein is to slaying Cain to save you. And like Abel, how many has cocaine slain? It's fatal. I've racked my brain and placed blame, ready to flame and flay you, but eventually understood that America lost its soul before it formed, before we could pay more for the same house in the same hood, or die twice as fast for wearing the same hood, or die in our sleep, or die in the street, or die on our face, or die on our feet, or die from the Klan, or die from police. I remembered the foundation of this nation is built on bodies. Indigenous generations treated with indifference, indignation, raped and ravaged by genocide, spit aside, and then given reparations in the form of reservations. That's heinous and inhumane. There's no other way to say it. It's that same arrogance, myopic embarrassment, or overt hostility, hatred, and harassment that persists today. Somehow people think it was whisked away when we elected Obama or freed the slaves, even though Reconstruction was an opportunity for equity that we shitted on and then pissed away. What do you do when the promises you make are only for a few? When equality is premised on a color or a hue, and the framework that forced you to slang work created an illusion that there's no one responsible to pay what we're due. It's a straw man. Makes me paranoid like, It's all planned. Polarizing propaganda got us believing we can't come together, but we all can. It's not in my nature to hate you. I believe in equity, and the flames of freedom don't burn for me, so I curated some carefully crafted heat so that when I speak, I will cremate you. Karma is unavoidable, so even if you refuse to say sorry when you rob me rich, like Roddy, you may not have to give it back to me, but you're gonna have to pay somebody. The universe is the Pied Piper, kept it infinite in my cipher. Miscarriage of justice replete makes our nation incomplete like a tribe with no fifer. America the whore, I won't judge you, but be damned if I wife her. For self-preservation's sake, I'll tolerate you for now, but I don't like her. She spread from all the lickle jits she locked up, or the people in prison for pitching like a potluck, because the poor lose regardless in a recession or if the stock's up. How we supposed to eat with what you serving up, like cocktails with no ice in a rocks cup? Is this the end of the age? They don't want to see a POC, and the two-party system doesn't work, so a pox on both your houses. Bicameral animals who wouldn't know what it meant to be common if he popped up. If you're a farmer, lend me your ear. An emergency 400 years in the making cropped up. The pause pregnant. Make you think about some high goals like watching Knocked Up. But forget the movies. They need to send them up and with a wand to show the audience that there's no magic behind the racist system these dementors propped up. I'd rather be on an island, rocked up, but I feel like I'm in a war zone, and I'm the only one who ain't got my Glocks up. That's a cross-hairy situation, so I grind with no vacation in the middle of COVID with no vaccination. The evidence will show that the bill is past due. I've prepared my case in chief on these sheets, but for now, that's the end of my opening statement.
Woo! 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 Oh!
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh!
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I've got one more for you. I titled this one Boycotts. It's an acronym, BOYCOTS, and it stands for Battle Over Years, Calm on the Surface. Crash in a craft. Can't switch back from whiplash, sprint flash. Need umbrellas at finish line, ascent drag. Ascent drug, memories from the mud, olfactory singed like a pinch of witchcraft. Once you crack the door for the devil, you can't get that inch back. I've seen precipitous drops like boulders and rocks, uncontrollable flop before they could inch back. Self-inflicted suicide tragedy. They laugh at me. American tapestry, seams ripped by a sinister seamstress, the fringe black. Some friends do more damage when they panic and stammer that they don't see that they fringe black. It's a strong delusion. Social experiment went wrong, implement incremental sing-song solutions for a collective mind contusion. Despite the disease we contract, we won't assign these rights like Scalia or Barrett reading an originalist constitution. But what constitutes a human? When immutable hues infused, imbued, leaves innumerable, beautiful, dutiful people muted. How many eyes have seen? They shooting. Isn't so much influence undue? On or off duty, trigger finger like clicking a grayed out option on the edit bar. I look through my soul's windows to tell you it's something you can't undo. Try to show you control, but you Z. Spirit and body separated quickly. Not whiskey when I say it's like J with no B, because that would throw the Carters off. But sir, these hard knock lessons learned because ain't no IV when they bodies carted off. When these murderers need a CO2 like car exhaust. Don't need the specs that Jay-Z rocks to see headlines duplicated like a carbon cop. Look like Modi with one eye. When son died, they didn't care if he was in the car or not. Shot first, barely waited for the car to stop. So sharp I'm knighted. Make you call me sir like Jason, stay golden fleeced like an Argonaut. If you stay ready, ain't gotta get ready, whether they are or not. Remember days with expired freezer food on my plate that we ate when I was 8, like I made the letter R a knot. Some of these little babies may never recover after getting hit with a Drake. Makes me wonder if being wed to King's dream is all for naught. There's little time for vision in my sleep. You show me pictures of shepherds with white skin or mountains and lightning, images of color lightening, but it looks like a prison for the sheep. I need a kettle when I speak. I make you ooh long from all this loose leaf sipping when I steep. The range high, ain't no slipping when it's steep. Rest in peace, Brianna. I thought it was a story about an overnight tailor because they clipping while we sleep. And I understand that maybe we don't have all the facts, but stop tripping over Black Lives Matter. If you stop believing your own bullshit complex and look at historical context, you'd realize that we all are Black.
Woo!
Wow.
Yes. Yes, yes,
Wow,
yes.
wow, wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. You spoke. Yes. Wow.
Thank you.
Whew. Okay. Wow. All right. Next up is Tylen. I've known Tylen for a few years now, and knowing him has been an absolute blessing. Tylen, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Your writing is honest. It's haunting at times, lyrical and gripping, and I'm so honored to know you as a writer and as a friend. So everyone, welcome Tylen to this virtual space.
Thank you so much, Kelsey. Hi, guys. So the organization that I want to highlight today is Coburn Place. They offer transitional housing for people who are escaping interpersonal abuse. I actually got to work with them a couple of years ago, I want to say, and like working with them helped me start my path towards like being a social work student and trying to learn ways to engage communities and the people around me. So today I have two pieces, both exploring my experiences, I guess. The first one is titled Where My Melanin Comes From, Where It Goes. After generations of being treated as property, of learning every centimeter of the master's whip, never knowing the fate of their loved ones, of being used and abused, good Black folk sought freedom from their slave chains using all they had, from underground railroads and white biased courtrooms to shotguns and fire. They led rebellions against their masters. That melanated revolution went well beyond the give me liberty or give me death of the European proletariat escaping the clutches of some treasonous monarchy. For my Black and brown ancestors, it went a little something like this mantra we all know. We brought you into this world, and we can take you right back out. As my ancestors shed blood breaking chains to stake a claim in the country they built, proud and hateful oppressors burned crosses, showing how they burned their own God, whitewashed of all melanin, to keep unholy power over the people they had abused to sell the land that they stole. Now, I find myself often thinking about those shoulders I stand on, and the bodies that had fallen before I could climb a society built on white supremacy. I've watched how the aging spirits around me laugh so much in their longevity, despite having had to fight this whole world for their every breath. So here I am, thinking about myself again. How I wish my words were full of gasoline, just enough to birth a raging inferno that makes the white supremacy that fucks with me on a day-to-day basis go up in smoke. The same way they sought to make Tulsa and Black history go up in smoke. I want to be brave enough that the breath coming from my mouth turns into flames so bright, so loud, so hot that it burns down the structures that taught me fear. Fear of my own voice, of my own skin, my heart and soul born from the hearts of Africa. How us Black folk have this way of staying alive and in communion with one another, across the seas, across generations, across mediums, across our souls. My voice already knows it may be drowned out by the way people shout white power, as if that whiteness wasn't allowed its brightness by the beauty in blackness. I mean, the blood waiting to be born from my bones already fears it'll be washed white, like the history told by the descendants of slave masters, fearful of divine retribution, who claim their ancestors were kind to the people they abused as property, somehow believing that such irony spares them from the burden of their historical sins, just as we live with the generational traumas inflicted upon us. Miss Holiday sang of a strange fruit that had been hanging for well over 200 years now, its flesh burning so sweetly, trying to draw us near. And I hope that our forebears find rest as we pull that strange fruit down and bury it in the soil and remember its name as we lift each other up in the evolving tradition of Blackness, so that in this melanin, we bring more of that change Mr. Cook told us would come.
Okay,
I did not expect to get emotional for that.
Casually.
Thank you. Okay. So this second piece is titled Black Man, Femininity and Fluidity. For a single moment, I inhabit the altar of Black femininity, with my silhouette dressed in the spotlight, and a dress embracing my frame with all the love I spent a lifetime rejecting. My heels bring me a little closer to a heaven I'm not sure I believe in yet, though my feet burn like hell. My face has become a canvas of a woman's making, a painting come to life, and upon my lips rests a song I had long known, but had finally started mastering. This burden of magic felt heavy at first, but I soon stopped feeling its weight. My soul had long left my body during the performance, so I retreat backstage as my friends in the crowd scream for an encore. Now that I can hear my heartbeat, and as it dies down, my mind goes elsewhere. I am reminded of when I first started to seriously toy with my own femininity as a man, with struggling in heels and draping finery over this body I tend to call pitiful, of how the first people to make me feel beautiful and worthy were the Black girls I went to high school with. They showed me I could be beautiful, that I could inherit divinity for just a moment in time. Sometimes, I think my mother doesn't believe that a man could be beautiful or holy, that I will never be able to inhabit neither beauty nor holiness as I am. And history and her experiences validate that. Even if she never disapproves of how softness flows from these Black lips, I still remember the conversations we would have after I first came out to her as gay. How'd she say that gay men act effeminate like women for attention? And you know, maybe that's true. But is there something wrong with wanting to be in the spotlight after being relegated to the shadows, the background, the closet for so long? Should I seize this part of my journey of existence to be a real man? I sometimes want to ask her if she thinks my queerness deserves to manifest itself in femininity. But why would I ask the divine if I may reach inside myself for paradise when she has already preached to me that it is up to me to craft my own holy throne? After all, she birthed me full of love to survive even the hatred of a cruel reality. So I gather all that love in my hands as I define my own worthiness And although this world may not yet approve, I sit before this metaphysical altar, allowing a lush heritage of femme Black royalty to reign over me as man. And so in those moments where I become queenly, where I smile in the mirror and profess my scars to be jewels upon my skin, I recognize as man, queen, or anybody in between or outside that binary, I will face a constant criticism, even as tens of hundreds of people would uplift me for my daring to reach an existence culminating at the intersection of allure and heaven, which threatens those who know of only a status quo, who would rather pluck the soft flower of Blackness from this world as if it were a weed, or better yet, to trample such a graceful living thing, who would demean sweetness and masculinity to be a poisonous fruit, hoping to drag a fag through brimstone and fire, misread from ancient scriptures, as if a nigga ain't nothing at their core, as if they ain't a person at their core. All I can do is let them claim that I am the most unnatural thing since God made women. Because if we are so unnatural in queerness, then the feminine sex are simply otherworldly beings. And this is true, for only a goddess may sanctify this land with rainbows after the April showers have frozen over the winter, breathing color into a world long seen in grays and faded greens. And is it such a sin for a man to wish to aspire to be like a goddess? Is it so wrong to wash my hands in my melanin and in my soul's rainbows in order to ascend into a gorgeous kind of paradise? What is so wrong with wanting to deliver myself away from toxic masculinity, out of monotony, so that I can be reborn into a colorfully free existence, all so that I can live with the fluidity of water clear enough for us to see every color, a life forged from artistry and expression and performance, divinely beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yes.
They're incredible.
Ellen, that was beautiful. I'm gonna cry again. Okay, but it's my turn. I have to share now. Okay. So more about me. I don't think I said this. I write sometimes, I act sometimes, and then I teach sometimes too. And I want to talk about Flanner House before I dive into my poetry. So here's my plug for Flanner House. Flanner House is all about empowering the community, and they want people in the community to be self-sufficient. So they have a lot of cool resources. They have food justice initiatives, like a grocery store on their property and an urban farm called Flanner Farm. They have a center for working families, a child development center, an elder center, and a lot more. And I'm just really amazed at all the work they continue to do to empower people. So you should definitely check them out. So I only have one poem to share with y'all tonight because the poem is kind of long. And the poem came from a place of reflection. I've been reflecting a lot at the end of this very long year. And I've been practicing gratitude. And when I've had conversations before with people and I'm like, I'm practicing gratitude, I'm just gonna practice it. And it always felt very detached and kind of like ethereal. And then as I've actually spent more time practicing gratitude and being grateful, it's become a really difficult thing. And it's a lot grittier than I thought, because it's easy for me to be grateful for all the good things, but then to look at this year that we've all collectively experienced, to look at the losses that my own family has experienced, and is still experiencing, to look at the losses that have happened in my own personal life and the things that I'm struggling with. It's just really hard to be grateful. But when I really lean into that and when I really press into that, there's beauty there. There's beauty in being able to look back at where I've come from. And there's also beauty in seeing the resiliency of those who have gone before me, in my parents, in my elders, in my ancestors. So the late poet W.S. Merwin has a poem called Thanks, and you should definitely check it out. It's beautiful. But the last two lines of his poem, Thanks, are, "We are saying thank you and waving, dark though it is." And so this is my poem titled Thank You, after W.S. Merwin. Dark though it is, we still be saying thank you. We be saying thank you though our minds be blank sometimes, though our throats be dry and needing water, though the lights in our windows flicker with uncertainty. We be saying thank you when the sun shines too hot on our skin, when the sweat slides in rivulets and leaps off the tips of our noses, when our fingers burn, then numb with cold. We be saying thank you when the refrigerator stays empty, and when the cockroach scuttles up the wall, when the June bugs lazy in and hum their wings against the inside of the bathroom light. We be saying thank you. Sitting in our uncle's lap, 6 years old, him blowing smoke in our face, bouncing us up and down on his knee. We be saying thank you still. Inhaling that smoke like it's cologne. We be saying thank you to that tiny memory of him that came flooding back with fervor, because before, the only memory we had of him was lying unconscious in a hospital bed. We be saying thank you to that memory, even though it hurts. We be saying thank you to that hospital bed, even still. We be saying thank you for holding him, and I hope he felt warm and safe there, and I hope he's at peace wherever he is. We be saying thank you for the mouse crouching on the stove in the dead of winter, a piece of bread in its mouth. We be saying thank you for the cardboard in the bottom of our shoes. Thank you for the 25 cents buried in our pocket as a gift for the birthday party down the street. We be saying thank you to the mother's palm that pressed that cold coin into ours. Thank you for doing what you can. Thank you for stretching even still. We be saying thank you to that street corner that became a basketball court, a jury box, a boxing ring, a family room. We be saying thank you for the nights of dry cereal and cold milk, for the muted, grumbling bellies of our weary mothers. We be saying thank you for the group of us, all brown and gleaming in every shade under the sun, and yet somehow all bursting forth from the same womb. We be saying thank you for the precious womb, liquid and home and holding us closely, the first time someone told us we were loved. We'll be saying thank you for brothers and sisters. And how many of us are there really? Because our family keeps growing. We'll be saying thank you for that anticipation every time mama came home from the hospital wondering, who would she bring back next? Who else do I get to sacrifice for and love more than myself? We've been saying thank you for the brothers who tease us, for the sisters who steal our clothes, for the cousins who sleep under the same roof and braid our hair. We be saying thank you to the ones who aren't cousins, but are still bound by blood, who sit with their knees under our kitchen table and ours under theirs. We be saying thank you for the hours and the passing of time. We be saying thank you for the new wrinkles at the edges of our eyes, for the moles pushing up on the sides of our faces, for the chin hair we now have to pluck. We be saying thank you for the popping in our shoulder and the battle scar left by the kitchen knife, for the blackened knees kissed by cocoa butter. We be saying thank you to that first kiss, the one that left us doused with saliva, wondering if it was always gonna be this way. We be saying thank you for the butterflies, both real and in our guts. We be saying thank you you for that rush of dopamine, for the time she said yes, for the time he said he didn't feel the same way and it saved us. We be saying thank you for the first time we really felt seen. Thank you for the body that lets us feel all things. We be saying thank you for the sun when it first rises and casts its light on our faces. Thank you for the new beginning. Thank you, even though we be sitting here all day, all alone, in a rocking chair, at a desk, in a hospital room, in a prison cell. We be saying thank you, even though it's lonely. We be saying thank you for Kathleen Battle and Jesse Norman and Chadwick Boseman and Claude McKay and Etta James and Madam C.J. Walker and Marsha P. Johnson and Sister Rosetta Tharpe and George Washington Carver and Harriet Tubman and Jesse Owens and Mahalia Jackson and Garrett Morgan and Frederick Douglass and Octavia Butler and Muhammad Ali and Wilma Rudolph and Toni Morrison and Audre Lorde and Lucille Clifton and Al Green and John Lewis and Medgar Evers and Mamie Till and Marcus Garvey and Gladys Knight and Nina Simone and Etheridge Knight and Sonia Sanchez and June Jordan and Nikki Giovanni and Laverne Cox and James Baldwin and Ruby Bridges and Thurgood Marshall and Sidney Poitier and Cicely Tyson and Mae Jemison and Lucy Higgs Nichols and Asada Shakur and Angela Davis and Bell Hooks and Roxanne Gay and Benjamin Banneker and Crispus Attucks and Dr. Angelou and Dr. King and my grandmothers and Phyllis Wheatley and Jackie Robinson and Althea Gibson and Willie Mays and Colin Kaepernick and Venus Williams and Serena Williams and Malcolm X and Gwendolyn Brooks and Rosa Parks and W.E.B. Du Bois and Sojourner Truth and we be saying thank you for roller coasters at Six Flags and the first day of summer, for the geese flying low outside the kitchen window, for the ice half frozen and shattering on the pond. We be saying thank you for childhood and the memories of darting in between the sprinklers and tomato plants standing tall in the backyard. We be saying thank you for the laughter at the dinner table with our father. We be saying thank you for our father. Thank you for his quiet love. Thank you for the mysteries of his life that we are still unraveling. We be saying thank you for our mother, for her steady hands, for her quick mind, for her giving spirit. We be saying thank you for our grand, for her voice and her song, for the melodies coursing within her that have bled into us, for the minor chords and the notes that makes our spirits tremble. We be saying thank you for some dirt road we have never seen, some tiny house, some little shack deep in the wood somewhere. Thank you for the axe and stone that made that shack. Thank you for the hands that built it. Thank you for the hearts that yelled and cried and loved beneath that roof. Thank you that they pressed into each other. Thank you that they pressed on despite the raging chaos outside those walls. We be saying thank you, because what else can we do? Because the mind is always spinning and gravity is not always our friend. Keep me tethered to the things that make me whole. Keep me grounded in all the things that remind me of who I am and where I'm going and who I've been. Let everything else be released like air, like mist, like wind. We be waiting for the day to turn to night so we can give more thanks. We say thank you to the night, for she be dark and varied like us. And we be so accustomed to her complexities and beauty that we are unafraid. Thank you. All right. Up next, We have a poet.
Wow.
Oh, thank you. All right, up next, we have a poet who I deeply admire. I heard her perform poetry earlier this year, and I was absolutely blown away. So when this opportunity came about, I knew I had to get her in the lineup. She is a powerhouse. She's honest. Her writing is raw and real, and I'm thankful that she continues to share her voice. Please welcome to the virtual stage the Tuesday Xavier Collective.
Hi, hello everybody. Kelsey, I don't even want to follow you. I really like low key want to just like log off and not do anything right now.
Don't say
Like I
that.
can't believe I have to follow all this wonderful talent that has come with this tonight. I am not the last performer. I am blanking on who's next, but that's also
You are
because
not
I'm
the last
blanking on like
performer.
everything.
You're not the last
It's me. It's me.
And I promised not to talk for 30 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna plug who I'm asking for donations for, and then we're gonna get right into this, and I'm gonna get the heck up out of the way because I timed this poorly. And yeah, that's actually way too much information. We're just gonna stop. Let's just say I'm hydrated. I want everybody to spend some of their time, sometime this holiday season, at the church within, donating their time and attention to the No Questions Asked food pantry. I am a little biased because they do work very closely with my employer, but I can say without a doubt this is one of the most useful. This is one of the most useful food pantries in this entire town. It's located on 1125 Spruce Street. It's right there, right down the street from the fountain in Fountain Square, right down the street from the White Rabbit Cabaret. I don't do religious buildings. That's one of the few. That's one of the few churches I can walk into and actually feel safe. The work that they do as the No Questions Asked food pantry. You don't need an ID. You don't have to make all these different kind of like sign up forms and all that different kind of stuff. If you have a need, you come in and you get what you need, and you get what you need. So me being the type of person that I am, that speaks a lot to me. The type of work that they do is very important, I feel, to surviving this pandemic. I really I wanted to go without mentioning that, but it is what it is. That's my plug. They're open Monday, Thursday, and Saturday from 12 to 2 for pickups. Spend some time helping out the people who are still stuck outside. My job is specifically with outreach to homeless youth, people in our town from the ages of 18 to 24. There are not permanent. There are adult housing projects all across this town as well. Homelessness is a real thing. We're on the path to eliminate it as a city. Please help us. Do everything that you can to donate food, all kinds of different canned goods. You can donate clothing. You can donate household items. You can honestly, I mean, it's like Goodwill. Like if you've got a car, you can donate a car. I don't know how we're gonna figure out who to give the car to, but it's a process. Actually, I don't want any part of. That straw is not fun. That's all I got to say about that. And with that being said, I am going to get this out of the way now. I don't usually do this, but considering I rewrote one of the things that I've actually that I gave up for my set today. This is your general content warning. There will be language that you will not be ready for. If you're not in the mood for it, mute me. Walk away, smoke a cigarette, do whatever the heck you've got to do. I'm officially putting myself on the clock. This is my set. In case you don't know, my name is the Tuesday Xavier Collective. You may know me as Allie, Warren, Cosmo, Tuesday, Cave. My work is a very visceral journey through dissociative identity disorder with an extra special lens of being a Black trans woman. Having my transness kind of be at the root, or in hiding my transness be at the root of how I've tried to survive in this world. I understand that me as a person, I'm incredibly complicated, and I don't run from the fact that I'm a very different human being. I'm happy about it. I've been on hormones for almost a year. Like I'm really happy about where I'm at in life. Do things stress me out? Like, do I have bad days? Like, yes, but I have a lot less bad days. And with the path that I'm going and the fact that I'm going to be in my own apartment in like 2 days, it's just, I'm happy to be who I am and I'm not going to run from it. And that's why I think everybody kind of resonated with Kelsey's poem just now so much. It's Blackness is such a myriad of things. You can't define it with one particular version of what you see or what you know. And I appreciate everybody that's performed tonight because we all have these different styles. We all have these different ways of expressing ourselves. And we have this common thread between us. And I like that Black people are Black people. That's all I got. Okay. Stop monologuing. Do the poetry. Get out of the way. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're listening to a Zoom recording coming out of East Jesus Nowhere, Indianapolis. I wrote this poem for an event called The Wake. This has been rewritten. So for anybody who's familiar with our callbacks, that's rewritten shit. Violent death reported. Male. Women's clothes, jewelry, makeup, name. We are eradicated as a minority only to prop a +1 on a statistic. This country doesn't just love killing Black men. They love taking the Black trannies out back, stripping them clean and hanging them high for us all to see. A visual representation of a drowning nation. If it involves taking our lives, it's been done to us. If it involves putting our bodies on the line, we've placed our feet over them. Telling signs of the trauma lingers in every motion. We have been shot, beaten, sexually assaulted, thrown at emergency room doors, thrown out of cars, thrown in rivers, dumped in second and third locations, dumped in dumpsters, dropped by the very people around us, dropped by the system sworn to protect us and our rights, slumped on sight after sunlight. We've had our genitals cut out and off, curb stomped, Glasgow grin. We've been Old Testament stoned, gasoline glazed and set ablaze. You already know why I keep referencing drowning, so stay with me. Breathe in the air, the breath snatched from blackened lungs. Look, I can't stay away from the nicotine. I can't smoke away a recurring dream. I am laying dead in the streets. My tight stain with the lack of muscle control and death, my chest mid-heave, face frozen in panic. I am the rotten fruit produced by this cesspool of mediocrity where they deny you education, lunch, education, and eventually any pathway to assets or property, leave you in the streets so they can sweep by and take the road right out from under your feet, and you can't even read the signs. They never taught you how to read. They file your dead name away, keep you down as redacted forever. The people who call you by that name will never have their statements redacted. Welcome to the United States, motherfucker, where the Supreme Court can be undone with one swing. Some say the substance to this is missing, but we can't make it to 35. Say it's a lie when you know exactly which old Kanye song has a chorus about making it past 25. Fuck Kanye in his red hat. The same cog kills us all. The nationalist rhetoric that consumed and regurgitated the American dream is a lead-in for the evening news, but even in the event of death, there will always be that fucking word. Redacted. You will never be who you are here. They will kill you for being yourself here. To straight men, you trick them, and your secret is punishable by death, so people execute you by thinking you've done something honorable. The anxiety of never knowing who will want to kill you when you meet them in the parking lot is crushing. So I don't date anybody who doesn't know that I'm trans. And it's actually, no, never mind. I take this line back. It's difficult to date somebody whether they're trans or not. It's just difficult to be a trans person in a relationship. I've had bouts of insomnia that I swung at by reading everything. And along the way, I learned that sometimes the best thing that you can have is knowledge. So I wonder what keeps people up at night. Because if ignorance is bliss, then bliss is blind. And they don't see death as an empty doorstep. At the red light or the dark night, it's not the international crisis. It's been us being led by the annoying orange this entire time. And it's not like anything's going to be going any fucking better just because we have Joe Biden and a cop. We can't even face a pandemic properly, but see, when you're dreaming, you can't see the faces of people you've never met. And in my worst nightmares, I am killed by people whose faces I cannot see. I never sleep in the hopes that I see them coming. And if you're smart, you never sleep again. That is a piece from a while ago.
Yes.
We were talking. The theme of tonight was to self-identify. That is my identity. It is being Black and trans and literally a little crazy in America is like, I mean, I don't, excuse me, I don't know what else you want me to say. Like, it's kind of like it feels like it's a death sentence. I realize that's really fucked up to say, but like, it feels like a death sentence. You see, like, we have memorials every year, the Trans Day of Remembrance. Like, we have a day where we step back and just reflect on the fact that there are people around the world that's documented and undocumented where people are literally murdered because of the fact that they are trans. There's literally nothing else to it. Now, you can slap being Black and trans on top of that for me, but Indiana doesn't recognize a hate crime to start off with. So I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with those kinds of things. More dark shit. This one's about how much I hate capitalism because you're forced to buy something from somebody and it's awful no matter what. Unless you like super buy local, like everybody's consumption feels a little nasty after a while. Late stage capitalism, stuff they don't let you read about. The backlight will cling to the cuticles of the companies that care, screen cap of a candid selfie, an overgrown crowbaby coward, chronic shill clasping the curtain as he swipes right on the phobias that destroy the same customer that he wants to attract. Like bees, we buzz into the same familiar plants for pollination, the creation of honey. They don't care about the bees. They don't care about the disguise for the honey pot. The bees are just suckers to be sold to. They don't care to watch us make honey. They only stay for the harvest of the sweetest nectar of life between nougat, orange pineapple juice, pulpy lemonade, because pulpy lemonade is actually freaking delicious, and whatever your definition of the word ambrosia is. Ambrosia cannot be traded, cash only, doesn't matter if it's not backed by anything. Bees are not stockbrokers. They don't hold shareholders' money to make money for 150 years. Maybe these people have learned how to speak a little bit better than me. I'm going to keep going to make money for 150 years, to pocket $1 trillion, to pad pockets in exchange for silence, to pay into the accounts of excuses who pay to print propaganda that I deserve to pay with my life for my truth. You have to hold a tight rein. Drip the intellectual advancement. We have a different eye for death. What does it matter if everything is preventable? Our villains only mourn in absence of money. Ambrosia wouldn't be so special if it weren't so rare, reserved for the rich. Preventable is only possible with resources beyond the spigot rim, but they don't care to watch the live killings of bees. They already know that bees are dying. And they've been aware for some time about the numbers, the scope, the range, the regulations, deregulated controls that have steered this country from deliverance into pestilence, our penance. These animals in these farms adore themselves and their reflections, and to them we are not separated by the way we use our feet. We all use two. Workers do not sit at tables. Bees cannot change their colors, so they do what they must, survive at all costs. Corporations do what shareholders tell them to do, survive at all costs. Integrity be damned. The bald-faced hornet straddles the thick fence. Bees know the real work is done when the night watch sleeps. Bees never sleep, too busy taking backroom beatings, backlit by logos. I say that knowing that I have definitely ordered shit from Amazon before. Like, it's just a thing. Jeff Bezos sucks. One day him and Elon Musk are gonna get together. They're gonna decide to like establish a colony into space. They're gonna make another few $1 billion, and it's gonna be weird because we're gonna watch them spend all that money, and we're gonna wonder why the planet's still dying. It's fine. I might sound like I realize I'm not even gonna say I might. I realize I sound like somebody who watches a few too many conspiracy theory videos. I promise you, Alex Jones is the worst person on this planet, and I am on your side. Yeah. Shameless plug for somebody that isn't me. Queen Spirit Magazine published one of my pieces. This is the last piece that I'm going to read today. You can follow them on Instagram, Queen Spirit. No Questions Asked Food Pantry can also be found on Facebook and on Instagram. You are better off finding me on Instagram because while Facebook is a nice real timeline of like how my life has gone from being an abused child to being where I'm at now, I'm deleting that shit because I just don't fucking care anymore. So you can find me on Instagram. I am the Tuesday Xavier Collective. My @ is actually too difficult because it was an accident. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm actually trying to like get out before I read this last poem. Nah, I'm just gonna leave it there. Fuck 12. If I even remember where I am. BoJack is not someone to look up to, but Honeydew is fucking disgusting. The sixth season, while it did happen, that particular line did not happen. Time is an illusion. The clock controlling calendar is counterfeit. Seasons passing are just seasons passing. Significance is indicative of your mindset. Seasons do not accelerate change. The changes of my body are due to me being prescribed a dose of lady that I take daily. Therapy is weekly. Progress is rewarded non-discreetly. Growth is just the tide overrunning the old high water marks. New year, new beginning. January brings floods, not blizzards. What even is a season? Clock overwrites nothing. Seasons are more like guidelines. The baggage in my life, inundated by water, dead weight. I float like necessary. I float like hope. Life. I heal in ways that cannot be planned by the changing of a single number that like I will forget due to slumber that I am a day older. My clock does not tell me when to change. My calendar is not a yardstick for progress nor activator for change. I choose to rearrange my life. I choose to let go of suitcases with bricks and bad boyfriends and bad memories. Trauma sinks. My mindset shifts. I wish I could speak. A clock sits, no ticking or talking. They say even a broken clock is right sometimes, but who is truly perfect? Did they ever touch the sun without crashing into the surface of the earth? I am not broken. My name is Cosmo, and I'm better. We are the Tuesday Xavier Collective. That's my time. That's my set. I love y'all. Thank y'all. I hope you walk away feeling something from what I've said, what everybody said. I'm gonna shut the heck up and move on. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. I so appreciate you and your voice and also your sense of humor. You're just very funny. Okay, our final poet of the night, last but certainly not least, is distinctly unique and I am floored by her work as a poet and as an artist. Her writing is like a breath of fresh air. It revives you. And she's a force to be reckoned with and the perfect way to end the night. So distinctly unique, take it away.
Thank you. I'll start with my organization, which is Force for Good Community Development Corporation. And I chose this organization in particular because I come from Gary, Indiana. If you know anything about it, it's been plagued with a lot of corruption, oppression, racism, everything you could possibly think of negative. And I personally can tell you that there's a lot of good that does come from Gary. And Patrick and Barry, I know personally, have worked with personally, and I can see what happens when you pour into your city, your community, the residents. And this organization is doing just that. Force for Good in Gary, Indiana. So I encourage you, www.dogoodingary.com. Check it out, donate whenever you can. Please, 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 our communities, our city, our country, we need you. And with that being said, I have 3 poems for you all tonight. This first piece is called Relax, Relate, Release into This Reality. She prayed that the generational circles of individual and systemic racism be broken, so that for once in her hashtag Black Lives Matter lifetime, she could see what endless possibility actually looked like. Despite her dirty mirrors cracked by white supremacy's iron fist, gripped just a little too hard, too strong, too long to ever quit or fully back down. She found that the more she dug into America's filthy history, the less American she wanted to be. But quite honestly, she's not sure who she is without her North American businesses. She looked far east past Maine, praying for peace, hoping times would change if she just rearranged her location and stationed herself in Africa, only to find out that the country she glorified the most are on their citizens' beware and or corrupt list, with no economic supplement to take or give them. She realizes that she is homeless because home is where the heart is, and her heart is hopeless now that she realizes that her revered continent, her birthplace, her hometown, her current country, all of them expect currency monthly regardless of how pure her soul is. Money is the number one thing these greedy wannabe world leaders care about. Doesn't matter how much we scream or shout or beg to be treated with decency, with respect. If our money hand shows up empty, we are worthless. She is worth less than Her radiant brown skin might shine in her eyes, but in theirs, her melanin, her gold is not black, beautiful, or bold. It is sold to the fools seeking pools of income for bragging rights and power. Every hour, one of them eats away at her peace-inducing flowers, swapping them with violence, hypnotizing her caring mind with aromatic scents of selfishness and gluttony, but their sweet, sour mass smells of greed need to disappear if she wants to officially stop the trail of tears for once and for all. But she knows that it's not her call to make, for she is only the vessel of guidance made to show the good and the bad, the happy and the sad human beings or monsters that her freedom waters can run deeper than their eyes will ever see. Still, collectively, we have to give her a chance to evolve from brooks and bays into boundless seas, metamorphosing into righteous, deep blue oceans, encircling the very land her feet so graciously step, almost arrogantly, because she holds herself to the highest degree and has the action receipts for anyone who dares to speak ill will on her name. It's a shame. The world can hear about her triumphant stories daily and still not honor the sacred air she breathes. Regardless, she chooses to live by the divine words whispered in the magical colors of the wind, belted in the ancestral ashes, risen from the fires within every rock and stone, able to stand on its own, to be later picked up by a child who's only lived long enough to believe that the earth does indeed sing. But for the rest of us non-thinkers, we can only hear her freedom ring when we can take a moment to listen to our own thoughts, to enjoy the roots of life for all that they are. Then, and only then, can we transition from victims into the stars that shine their lights for the world to see. Then, and only then, can I be she and she me, for we are intertwined, designed to teach and learn the meaning of his and her word. For this is truly what we live for. And this is what we heard. As human beings of the earth, if we want to reverse the Western, capitalistic, uncaring, unforgiving, ruthless curse, we must first allow space for rebirth, reclaiming our worth, letting go of material things. We've got to relax, relate, release into this reality. To be, to live, to see, to give, to grow, to create, to show, to relate. You be, you live, you see, you give, you grow, you create, you show, you relate. I be, I live, I see, I give, I grow, I create, I show, I relate. She said, relax, relate, release. Did you hear her? Relax, relate, release. Listen to her. Relax, relate, release. Relax, relate, release, be. That's poem 1, y'all. Thank you. All right, this is my second piece. This piece is called What 90-Year-Old Me Might Say in Retrospect. One little high five away from reaching truth, a couple spoonfuls of honey and lemon and green tea and a pinch of ginger, shaken, not stirred, in mugs labeled yours. Crooked smiles, busted lips, canker sores on cheeks nervously bitten, lips greased with oil-based ingredients void of petroleum, makes you wanna smack, 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 because it feels that good, like good. Sweeter than the sound of early morning birds catching worms, wriggling through crowded space, wishing time would hold still for just one more millisecond. Scents of pineapple and mango and apple juices spilling onto zebra print kitchens, rugs remaining on white marble counters, seen in the lost strands of brown turned shiny gray hair, tiny toes no longer tiny, no longer kicking out, wishing to get up, saying, just get up, baby. Life overflowing, voices enjoying the world's greatest gift, a kiss. This blissful feeling can't be matched, but one day we wake up and 90 never looked so good until we remember how good 20 looked with perky cheekbones, fresher than the just finished laundry, folded on a bed we don't even know anymore, because we've moved on to 3 other homes before settling into our daughter's sister's home, who loves us despite how forgetful our brains of who she is. and why we're here in the first place. We are husband and wife living in power, empowered by an LOVE that can't be pronounced as one word anymore because we fought fights we hope and pray no one ever has to fight again. We've seen whips and chains on brown bodies break and reform in the oddest of ways. We've watched bombs drop on towns with children taking last breaths of what childhood could be or won't be because hatred decided they didn't belong there. Because evil decided brown bodies of their religion could not exist there, because insanity decided that anything different must be eradicated and described as savage, as unworthy, as filthy, though the hands of the human beings bombed and gunned down were as clean as a brand new anything, though these brown bodies bring light and peace to the world, though these brown bodies fill holes with life. This we know as truth. Regardless of orange monsters yelling fake news and some White House built off the backs of those society calls slaves, but we call humans enslaved by wannabe masters who knew nothing but destruction. We lived through the hypocalypse, oh, so many times. Judgment of colors, sizes, faces, races, places, genitalia, who can marry who can smoke what, who can carry what gun, who can do anything but live. And here we live in the power of loyalty, of optimism, of value, of excellence. We live in the power of acceptance, of agree to disagree. Our bones still standing strong, firm from hands that care, alive from minds that refuse to be negative. Generations have come and gone. But one thing remains, and that is us, those who do believe and act in love always and forever. Thank you. It's my second piece. And I decided to close us out to say thank you very, 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 very much to the Indianapolis Shakespeare Company for allowing this event to even occur. And so in your honor, I decided to create this poem, identity poem, in a Shakespearean sonnet as best as I possibly could. So this piece is called Who Was/Am I? Former representative of stages lit with global transformations, exchanged with never-ending blue rooms. Used to look gleefully at the unfolding realities of my vision board manifestations, now stuck in Discords, Facebook, Snapchat, and oh so many Zooms, meetings, even added Google Duoing to keep up with my iPhone users, trying to FaceTime as much as I can. While the artist industry's drying up looking for viewers, my identity's beginning to redefine again. Used to wear the Black double consciousness mask, thanks to this pandemic 2 became 3. Now in quarantine, my writing, my voice is free at last, yet somehow I'm still questioning my identity. So who was/am I, and who can I be during COVID-19? A Black woman, poet, performer, me, distinctly unique, always and forever my own queen. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, say it. Y'all.
Love y'all.
Thank you.
Wow. Oh my gosh. What a night. Okay, so,
Amazing.
oh, wow. That's all we've got for you tonight. And I am so thankful that all of you came out. I want to remind you of the following local charities and organizations that were mentioned tonight. If you have an opportunity and the means to give, please consider doing so. We have Aspire House, that's the plug from Indy Shakes, then the Center for Leadership Development, Sapphire Theater Company, Coburn Place, Planner House, No Questions Asked Food Pantry, and the Force for Good Community Development Corporation. Be safe, y'all. Be blessed wherever you are. Sending you lots of love and light. This was absolutely wonderful. Have a great night.